right now things are getting started.
Waouh.
The reveal.
Waouh.
First look.
C'est maintenant.
Crash 4. Enjoy it.
On arrête tout. On arrête tout. Je pose ma manette. Et voilà, c'est parti. Dites-moi si niveau son c'est bien, ma voix est trop forte, le son du jeu, enfin de la vidéo est trop forte. Vous me dites.
I'm really excited to be doing yet another week of video
La
game
musique.
announcements.
J'ai la musique au fond. J'entends.
What's that sound outside?
I've got an extra special package for Geff.
Let's go.
Geef.
Allez.
Geo, Fef, Keglegs. I'm just messing with you. Jeff
Je veux bien un truc.
Keighley, come on out.
Stylé le costume.
Not this again. I'm in the middle of a live stream right now. This guy always crashing my important shows.
J'ai pris un petit, j'ai pris ça avec moi.
Let me tell you, it better be worth it.
Bouga bouga. C'est le Aku Aku, trop stylé. Je sais pas si je peux vous le laisser comme ça en permanence. Ouais, ça va être compliqué. Mais je le tiens dans la main comme ça. Je l'ai sous la main si besoin.
Crash, I really don't want the dirt that you have on Cortex.
Allez.
Oh no. This is the Crash 4 trailer.
For real?
For reals.
Trop stylé.
It's about time.
Exactly.
Boule de gars. Voilà, ça j'aurais dû mettre. Est-ce que la date du 9 octobre est vraie? On va vérifier ça. Ah ouais. Ils ont pris une petite musique sympa quand même en plus. Oh, il y a pas mal de petites nouveautés hein. C'est clairement un nouveau jeu quoi. On voit dans le game design, c'est level design pardon, c'est différent. Nouveau costume, nouveau masque, nouveau pouvoir peut-être. Nouveau monde évidemment, c'est pas une surprise. Ils lui ont mis un masque, ouais c'est stylé, ouais. J'avoue, le masque Covid. Il y aura... Ah, on peut jouer avec plusieurs persos, donc Coco c'est pas nouveau, mais le docteur Néocortex c'est cool. New Insanity. Oh, lui aussi non. Ah non, c'est un boss. Ah il fait les selfies quoi, ça y est c'est moderne. Plus fluide dans les sauts, bah c'est clair que c'est pas un jeu de 97 qui a été adapté quoi, là c'est un vrai jeu. Et ça va Wamping Time. Ah il y a encore les courses comme ça à l'envers. 2 octobre. Ah ils ont avancé un petit peu par rapport au... Oh, je suis tellement chaud. J'ai trop hâte. Ok, des bonus avec des skins. Ok. Je pense que ça change un peu le gameplay, hein, Baptiste.
Crash game. It is coming this October, and right now I am joined by Paul from Toys for Bob to tell us about the brand new Crash game. Paul, we have been waiting for so long for something new from Crash. Of course, Activision has done some amazing remasters of the Crash trilogy and CTR, but this is a brand new Crash game built from the ground up.
That's right. It's hard to believe, but it's been over 10 years since we've seen an original new entry into the series. So I'm
ils ont quand même bien travaillé le truc, c'est cool.
Finally unveil this secret that we've been sitting on for a while. It's the brand new Crash 4. It's about.
Ah, c'est stylé ce pouvoir là.
It's a play on the fact that we've been waiting for so long, but also it's a game that's literally about time.
Tu changes de perso en plein milieu de niveau, c'est cool.
The trailer is filled with so much information. I mean, you know, playable Neo Cortex, Coco, Crash, but I'm curious, like, what you guys had worked on, the remasters of Crash, but now to start with a new game, there's I'm sure so much trepidation about like what's going to be a worthy, follow-on, calling it Crash 4. How did you guys approach this? Like, what kind of game did you want to build?
Yeah, I guess the first thing is we asked ourselves where did we want to start, and though technically this is the 8th game in this series. All of the fan reception that was coming out of the Insane trilogy, we wanted to go back to the original trilogy and start from that. We're deliberately calling this Crash 4 because we want to key it off of the original trilogy that was developed by Naughty Dog. And that was certainly a high point in the series, both critically and commercially. And so that's where the events are going to key off of. We're starting right at the end of that when Dr. Neocortex, Entropy, and Uka Uka have been banished to this distant planet, and they finally found a way, after many fruitless attempts, they found a way to break out, and in doing so, they've torn this gigantic hole in the universe and exposed the fact that there's a multiverse. So it's going to be up to the Bandicoots, Crash and Coco, to restore that order by reuniting the 4 great quantum masks.
The gameplay style, I think, a lot of people were probably wondering, hey, Crash in 2020, how much of it is, the more linear, classic Crash levels, and of course now, like, people wonder, like, is it an open world Crash game? How are you doing it? Like, tell us about balancing kind of the old style of gameplay, which is certainly not broken. We love it, versus the tendency to do, new styles of gameplay. Based on the trailer, it looks like you're being kind of still faithful to.
Je pense qu'ils ont vraiment repris des trucs.
Making it some big, 3D open
Ouais,
world.
c'est le jeu d'origine avec version 2020 quoi.
Yeah, that's
Ils ont pas dénaturé le truc et ils ont modernisé un peu. Putain, c'est stylé ça celui-là. Oh, on va galérer pour certains trophées, je pense. Ça me plaît, j'aime bien.
When we observe some of the other games and platformers and how they've evolved over time,
je suis tellement chaud,
you're
j'ai
totally
tellement
right.
hâte.
They've gone to a place where they're a little bit more open in nature, and as a consequence, the challenges and things that you interact with are a little bit more sparse and spread out. It encourages exploration, and maybe there's a little bit more focus on collection and combat. But when we think about classic Crash gameplay, it's dense and it's focused, and it's really the streams of hazards and the challenges, the platforming challenges, they come and there's almost a rhythmic quality to it and how reliable it is. And I know that for me, when I learn a level and I understand the nuance of the timing and the placement of all the different hazards, you can enter into a sort of flow state when you understand that kind of musicality.
Multiple playable characters. How are you doing that? Is it kind of like by level, or how, like we saw Coco and Neo playable in there? How does that work sort of in the scheme of the gameplay?
So Crash and Coco, you're going to be able to choose between them at any point in time, and they share the same moveset. Over the course of the adventure, you're going to encounter some new friends, some familiar faces, and you're right, there's going to be some new playable characters. We're teasing today Dr. Neo. He's got a completely different moveset from Crash and Coco. So where the Bandicoots kind of barrel through and they've got the ability to spin and slide and belly slam, Dr. Neo Cortex is he's a little bit more of a cerebral character. He's a mad scientist, he's got inventions, and he relies on his intellect. So he's got a ray gun that he carries around with him. And that ray gun has the ability to transmogrify hazards and enemies into platforms. And he can choose between changing them into a static solid platform or a bouncy platform that gives him access to higher elevations. So his gameplay and the levels that are built specifically for his moveset is going to be a completely different flavor. It's going to be a little bit more strategic, a little bit more cerebral, and I think players are going to have to be a little bit more thoughtful about when to encounter a hazard, whether or not to change it into a platform, and what type of platform they're going to need at that point in the obstacle.
Wow, it seems
dans 15 jours, ça aurait été fou.
that you're adding
Ça
more
m'aurait bien plu.
elements to it, and then also you mentioned the masks. How do those work?
So the quantum masks, there's 4 of them in this game, and over the course of the adventure, they're scattered across the universe. You're going to have to rescue them from the clutches of certain bosses, both familiar and new. The quantum mask, 2 of them that we're talking about today, is the time mask and the gravity mask. And masks in this franchise, they've got a lot of personality, they've got their own names and their own voices and their own powers. So the time mask, her name is Kapunawa. And when Crash uses Kapunawa, he's got the ability to slow down time to a crawl. So for obstacles that are beyond, just way too fast to interface with at normal speeds, he's going to be able to slow things down and then get past those obstacles. And in addition to that, he'll be able to get past nitro crates, which have traditionally been a one-hit, one-kill type of thing. But with the power of time, he's going to be able to slow things down, trigger that explosive, and then get out just barely before that explosion obliterates everything in its path. The second mask is the gravity mask, and his name is Ika Ika. So when Crash dons on Ika Ika,
Ika.
he's going to be able
Okay.
to flip the direction of gravity and walk on the top of ceilings, walk upside down underneath platforms to get past impossible obstacles.
I'm really excited to play this, and again, I was playing Crash back when the original PlayStation first came out, and you know, Activision's done a great job with the remasters, but to have a totally new game, I think, is what everyone was hoping for, and you're bringing it to life. So congrats
stylé.
for doing this, and thanks for doing it even from a work from home situation. It's awesome to see, and can't wait to get to play it later this year.
Thanks for having me. It's a great pleasure, and I think it's an exciting time for games, and I'm so glad that we could reintroduce Crash, a new version and a new adventure at this time.
C'est trop
All
cool.
right, there you have it, Crash.